I'm Scott Ott, and this is Bill Whittle Now. Well, Bill, the Associated Press is reporting the results of a new study. People who classified themselves as very conservative shared misinformation 6.8 times more often than very liberal people, and 6.7 times more often than moderates. And people who called themselves liberals essentially shared no fake stories.
I find that immediately to be extremely suspicious. Until we have a definition of false news and until we have a definition of what factually was shared, I'm not convinced about this story. But I do think, however, that there's probably something here. And the reason I think that conservatives, and especially elderly conservatives, share more false news is because they're better people. Older people are less cynical than younger people, and conservatives tend to be less cynical than progressives. So if it turns out that that means gullibility, and it very well likely does, then that's the kind of gullibility that I would not only tolerate, but wish we had a little more of. There's no question, if you grow up on Jimmy Stewart and It's a Wonderful Life, you're going to have a different value system than if you grow up on Peter Griffin and Family Guy. I mean, there's just no question about it. I'm sure that the false news stories, fake news stories that people shared were stories that appeared to be believably true. And not being of that age, I have come to realize that if there's a story that seems to be too good to be true in terms of political angle, then it is almost certainly not true. I think the issue is that they're very, generally speaking, trusting people. There are people in this country, and I certainly by nature am one of them, just in terms of the way I'm inclined, to simply not credit that people could be that miserable and low. But they are. And so one of the tactics to discredit any side is to give them a story that they pass around with glee and then have it turn out to be false, because then you can use that example to discredit everything else they believe. We don't want to be dependent on false news for our worldview. The entire theory of conservatism is to try to get an idea of how the world really is and then use these timeless principles to find the best path, not necessarily a good path, just hopefully the best path through these reefs that we encounter every day in life.
If you read enough news, you'll probably assume that there are no disinterested parties. And one of the things that we're very clear about here at Bill Whittle Now and at BillWhittle.com in general is that we are not disinterested parties. We definitely have a point of view. We're open about stating it, and we never try to sneak something in on you by being someone we're not. People who appreciate that have actually joined up and become members at BillWhittle.com because they want to advance these ideas very openly. And we do so through their membership dollars that they contribute when they go to BillWhittle.com and click the Become a Member link. To the members at BillWhittle.com, thank you very much. From Bill Whittle and Scott Ott.